Hello everyone. I know it's been not very a long time since we last saw each other. Actually, we saw each other yesterday, but I wanted to chat with you about the books that I've been buying or I've been actually given through friends in this quarantined time. And because I have quite a lot amount, I thought I could actually do a mismatched edition of book haul. Before I start, hi, my name is Clara and I'm the owner of this channel. The Path, it's a bilingual channel, so you select which language do you want to listen me talking to. I'm a Spanish booktuber, but I also speak quite fluent English, so I thought that using English as my second language for the channel would be a nice touch to the channel and also a way to practice my English a bit. So if you see me making any kind of grammatical mistakes, or if you see me like double thinking with which kind of word to use, now you know why. The thing is that obviously you're in an English type of video, and I normally don't do a lot of book hauls because I have um, several books already to read. I have several bookcases that act as a physical TBR, but I have decided to kind of skip my ban idea of waiting up until my birthday, which is next month, to actually help out during the quarantine. And I now explain you why. Keep with me. If you like this video, give it a like or subscribe, even better. If you subscribe, don't forget to click the notification button, the tiny bell, just in case YouTube forgets to tell you that I have posted a new video, okay? Now I talk to you about the books. As I said before, I had a little bit of a restriction towards buying books because next month it's my birthday, but I have uh, actually skipped that because of the quarantine situation. I am aware a lot of tiny shops had to close for a while, and they had a lot of issues like maintaining the business afterwards or during the quarantine even. So I've decided to collaborate with the book industry and the indie books in particular. I have decided to actually support my local bookshop, or the bookshop I normally go to, which is in the city center of Madrid, and is an indie bookshop, very wide, with a very wide catalog. And because I wanted to help them out, I signed up for a coupon to read. This idea of having coupons to read meant that you could actually um, make a purchase while they were closed. So you select how much money you want to spend on a certain indie bookstore. In my case, I went to the one I normally go, and in this website you could say I'm going to spend, for example, 50 euros on this tiny bookshop set in Madrid, for instance. And what you did was to put the money up front, so you could actually give them the money to help them survive through the time they were closed because of the quarantine. And when the bookshop opened, you could go with your coupon and spend it all in the books that you wanted, or spend part of it and save part of the coupon for another day. And also, in the meantime of in the time of the quarantine, they were accepting kind of a reservation, so you can actually ask them to bring or to order certain books you wanted, and you could collect them when they receive them after the quarantine was over. Using the coupon, I bought a few books, and I've decided to start with Ayer Nosotrosoi, which is a contemporary romance that had a tiny amount of psychology in it, because I think the main characters suffer from some kind of psychological issue, and I decided to go with this one, although contemporary romance is not my usual cup of tea, because Carolina Casado is a very dear author that I had the chance to actually meet, and she is a psychologist, so you can expect that the matters that deal with psychological issues are well treated, and when there's a treatment in place in the novels that she writes, is actually the proper treatment that is created or done by psychologists, so it's not invented at any cost. And also I decided to support her, not only because she's a really nice girl and I know that she writes very wonderfully and all the details that I explained to you before, but because her book was released during the quarantine times, and even though I wanted to buy it beforehand, the idea that her book actually arrived to the bookshops and the libraries when all these closing down event happened, I decided to support her through my coupon. So support your local authors, please. Aside these, I decided to go with the classics again, and I bought this beautiful edition. I know that you are well aware of this edition by now. This is The Tenant of Wildfield Hall by Anne Bronte, which is the youngest of the Bronte sisters and the only one that I haven't read. This is the vintage classic edition created by Penguin, that alongside Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, the latter I actually have an edition in this format. They have this kind of aspect of black and white or sepia tones, and also the interior of the cover has a different pattern in it, like this. I loved these editions, and because it's the only one that I don't own, I decided to use the coupon on getting this beautiful classic. The idea of my bookshop contacting the exterior to the abroad to get an English book was not an issue, because I knew it was going to take long, so I would probably take advantage of that and order it with months in advance. The problem of allowing me going unsupervised to bookshops is that I end up with more books that I actually was planning to or that I need. So when I went to actually collect these books when the bookshop were open again, I went with my parents and we were perusing through the shelves, and I decided to go with another one that I wasn't planning on going. This is, and I'm going to try to say it right, so I explain to you later on. This is La Revolución Española vista por una republicana by Clara Campoamor. This is a non-fiction work in which Clara Campoamor, who was a politician during the Second Republic in Spain, which was prior to the civil war that we had and suffered and ended up in a dictatorship afterwards. She is the responsible for the right, the women right, the suffragette, the women right to vote in those elections of the Second Republic. However, when we went through the war and end up in a dictatorship, women lost the right to vote, as well as other rights. And well, in this book, my namesake Clara Campoamor analyzes how the society was in years before the war, and how we ended up in the civil war in the end. So I really want to get to this. I am very, very scared but very excited at the same time, and I have to confess that I have acquired this book because my favorite TV show, which is called El Ministerio del Tiempo, and which is a fantasy historical TV series about a ministry which kind of main goal is to preserve history, and which agents have to go through time to make sure that things happen in the way we think and we know that they happened. In this TV series, Clara Campoamor made an appearance, and she was as a guest character in an episode, and her figure was actually studied in the episode, and she had an encounter with one of the secondary characters who is a feminist, and she's always very kind of reivindicative about hidden figures of history, which who are always female normally. And when this character, who I really admired, talked to Clara Campoamor about what she did and the books that she wrote, and mentioned this one, I decided to give it a go. So here we are. This is what you do when you actually invest yourself in a TV series that is also entertaining and educational. In the same day I went to collect the books and I bought that one. I gave my mother this one. This is related to the previous book I showed to you, because this is a non-fiction book written by several women journalists that decided to join in and create a non-fiction book of short stories based on their grandmothers. This is a story of several women who went through the Second Republic, as I said before, and then went through the Civil War and the aftermath of the war and the dictatorship, and how their life changed, and how their lives were affected by the war, and the fear and the idea of having your life reduced to actually being in the house. It's a really kind of hard, kind of harsh book. I already read this, by the way. It was a present for my mother, but I actually read it first and I actually love it. A 5-star read. Then I met with one of my best friends to celebrate his birthday, and however, because I bought him out of the blue before his birthday, I bought him a poemary by his favorite poet. He decided to shower me with gifts. He shouldn't have, but he did, and he decided to go with this beautiful non-fiction book again, which is called Curiosidades de la Historia con el Ministerio del Tiempo, like history, kind of curious details with the Ministry of Time. This is related to the TV series that I mentioned before. This is a non-fiction book written, I believe, by historians who explore all the time periods that were discussed and seen in the TV series, and how there were facts that the kind of ordinary people don't know about, that were very funny and relevant, and I love the TV series, so my friend decided to amplify my collection of books dedicated or related to this TV series. And then he went to the comic section and bought me Sherlock Holmes and the Vampires of London. I'm hoping I'm translating it correctly, which is an alternative kind of approach to Sherlock Holmes, as well as Sherlock Holmes and the Necronomicon. I believe this is of the non-dead or the vampires. I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking of non-dead in this case. And I also have another one in the collection that I don't have here, but I will show you as soon as I can. Okay, the last book I have to show to you is a poetry book, and it's the Spanish edition of I think it's called Leaf of Grass in the original language in English. This is Leaf of Grass by Walt Whitman. This is a poetry collection of a North American author, very famous, and I haven't read any of his poetry, but I just know the poetry or the poem that actually featured in the film The Dead Poets Society, which was again alongside Lorca one of my first kind of approaches to poetry, and I've been meaning to pick a version of or edition of this book for several years. However, I never had the chance to actually pick one that actually caught my eye, and then I found this illustrated edition. This is not a bilingual edition, this is a Spanish edition that is illustrated. I'm not sure if the poem is the poemary or the collection of poems is complete, but it looks like this. It has double pages kind of drawings, and it has also one page kind of drawings like this. And I don't know, I love the style, and I love how portable it is because it's very thin, and I really want to give it a go. Probably I will read this in the summer. Well, this is it. This is my most recent book haul, and I hope you enjoy it. Have you read any of the books that I mentioned? Should I pick any of these soon, or do you want to see a review of any of these books sooner than later? It's just because I am about to finish a few books from my current reading list, so I've been thinking of picking some of these up first, and I don't know which one to select. So give me your opinion in the comment section down below. Have you borrowed any books from the library lately, or have you bought any books in those countries in which you are allowed to go out and actually buy stuff? Tell me everything in the comment section down below. See you next week. Bye.